even without being in a Gurukul, I kind of had a very modern Gurukul like kind of school. And we are always complaining that Britishers took away our education system, but the biggest hit that they gave to us
personal life. How have you found your way to Sanatan Dharma?
This school in Amritsar is so spiritually aligned. So Geeta was always there, Havans were always there, classical dancing, singing. One of my friends gave me a Rudraksh mala from Varanasi. Anytime I'll put the mala, I'll feel a certain way. I'll take it out, I'll feel a different way, and I was feeling it. And I think that mala was. So I kind of stopped everything, took a break, came to Rishikesh a day before lockdown, and that was like really the beginning of it.
How can youth or people working in corporate, people working in diverse areas, how can we implement yoga?
You don't have to live in a jungle. You don't have mosquitoes around you. Only challenge is to begin and be consistent.
Is yoga really a religious thing?
Yeah, of course it is.
So now that we've covered Grihasthashrama and Vanaprastha Sannyasam, I also wanted to ask about Brahmacharyam, celibacy and yoga. So
Yeah.
these concepts for the brahmacharis out there. So can you please tell about that?
So first thing I would like to say is that every time we are always complaining that Britishers took away our education system, but the biggest hit that they gave to us was to take away the simple like this part of education. I think was really needed, and the youth of India complains we don't have sex education, but what really is that we don't have knowledge of the ashrams. And Brahmacharya went out, and the social media is kind of blowing up with everything that is against Brahmacharya, and it takes away the focus of kids, because they are more involved romantically, because they are channeling and they are brushing their hormones more than what they should be brushing is their mind in that age, so that they are practicing what? Focus. To be in Grihast, you need focus, right? You need determination. And Brahmacharya is the time where you do that. You need the right input to create a correct output in Grihast. So Brahmacharya is where you're studying, right? You are learning all the right input so that you can create the right output. It's one connected with the other. In your Brahmacharya, you're preparing for your Grihast. But in our Brahmacharya only we are adding, so-called Grihast in a way, and doing living relationships and dating with intimate relationship with people, and then it's a young body and it has not fully matured. Just because some things are happening with the body doesn't mean that it is the time to do that, because it has to come with the balance of mind, body, soul. So until or unless I have the correct input, why am I experimenting outputs based on my hormone? Because today I might be feeling very good and this is my output, but I was wrong. Like, I wasn't supposed to be feeling good about this because my input was wrong. So Brahmacharya has been lost, and it is one of the major losses for our country. So in Hatha Yoga Pradipika, it's mentioned that a true Grihast is also a Brahmachari. Now people are like, how? Because they always connected to that one thing. It is because they are in practice, they are in devotion to that one partner. And that is their Brahmacharya. And the book translates and it says that if all act of love is done in the devotion to the God, in service to God, then you are a Brahmacharya. Service to God is what? The kids. Bringing kids into life. And it is considered as one of the punya in our culture. And, this great sense of consciousness is taking place here, from a brahmachari to a grihastha brahmachari, when I do have my partner and all my actions are in a service to God. Why? Because I have the right kind of input. so I'm in the right kind of output, and with that there'll be a sense of detachment. So you can always become a brahmachari for whatever time you need to be, and you should do that because it brings a sense of enthusiasm. Chemically speaking of this more, you are preserving your energy, what they in English have now translated as purity, you know. And there's a lot of hate to that word, like, oh, so I'm not pure. That's not what it means. You know what I mean? And brahmacharya is a very, very important practice physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And to all the people who are thinking that wish they could and they can't do, you can start it anytime you are. And all the people in grihast, and I don't mean living relationships, please do not live the spiritual fantasy also with your people. You are my Shiva, and like, don't do that. You will be really, really in big danger. So when you are in a grihastha ashram, you're married to a person, practice that. And I'm not saying that you will not have attractions, but that is also the training of that, you know, that okay, my attraction is different, but where am I going? Am I indulging in the attraction, or am I understanding and keeping that aside? So that is why brahmacharya is important, because one thing that brahmacharya does to you is training of your willpower, which you need in grihastha again, and then you need it in your vanprastha again. In grihastha you need it with your partner, and with your partner more things are added with the dvand, and in vanprastha you need it to face the people who are speaking opposite of the dharma. In sannyas you need it to continue your practice with where, you know, you want to be in the state of samadhi, or you want to be in the state like diving deep in your own practice and not get lazy. So please try to experience brahmacharya for some time, and once you, like, you know, I will say try it and know it.
Okay.
So yes,
That was an interesting ride. But let's come back to your personal life. How have you found your way to Sanatan Dharma? What were your experiences with it? How did your relationship with it evolve over a period of time?
About my personal life, I have been really blessed to come from the family that I come from, whether it was my maternal side or my paternal side. In my maternal side, I'll give a little introduction. My Nana ji was a Mahant, a very great numerologist at the same time. And he was the priest in the temple that is 1500 years old. It's a Kali temple done by Adi Shankaracharya, and it's in Amritsar. So I come from there, and I grew up giving prasadam to people and doing little acts of puja and listening to prayers, and animals used to come like there, so we used to play with them, and it was very beautiful. And in my father's family, we were doing havans, a lot of havans, even there, but more this side, and more Vedic, I would say, atmosphere. I studied in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavans, Amritsar, and although they have many different branches all around, but I think this school in Amritsar is so spiritually aligned with the curriculum that they have and the options that are available. So Gita was always there, Havans were always there, classical dancing, singing. So even without being in a Gurukul, I kind of had a very modern Gurukul like kind of school. So it was always there, you know, always there. And I'd gone to US when I was in college twice, and that is when I realized that the place really matters. And when I went to US, there was this distance and gap with the atmosphere that was there, and I think those were like the most rough, like ethically, spiritually rough phase of my life, you know, what I saw, what was happening, and my mind also becoming what I was not happy with. And I was able to identify that. And then I was in Calcutta, and one of my friends gave me a Rudraksh mala from Varanasi. And I think that mala was the beginning of this great spiritual journey that kind of opened, because anytime I'll put the mala, I'll feel a certain way. I'll take it out, I'll feel a different way. And I was feeling it. It is just true that I was feeling it. So I would put it and I would feel different, and I took it out and I'm feeling different. I've experimented it. So I had taken off the mala because I was working, and it was making me, leave things and be very righteous. Something about it, And then I was sick, and my hormones were not in balance. I'd got thyroid, I'd got PCOD, and I was not happy about that. And you will not believe it that all the doctors told me it happens to everybody. Just eat the medicine and continue. And nobody really wanted to treat it. Everybody just wanted to give me a pill for PCOD that is not helping PCOD. In fact, is spoiling my body from inside more and more. It's a birth control. Already it's going out of control. I won't be able to release eggs, and then you give me birth control on top. So I'm not understanding this. And the other thing was thyroid. And the combination of PCOD and thyroid affects the gland, which is your decision making gland. And I will say that I've been blessed to understand in that moment that I have to stop everything. So I kind of stopped everything, took a break, spent like half a month in Pushkar, came to Rishikesh a day before lockdown, and that was like really the beginning of it. And I won't say that day one it happened. I've just spent a lot of time next to Ganga ji, and my intention was very, very clear. And somehow I've again been blessed to find my path, and I realized that the more I surround myself with the right kind of input is where I am really happy about where I am in life. And the definition of luxury becoming wider for me is the biggest gain. And the luxury of being in a healthy body is where it started from. And then becoming about a healthy mind, and understanding that anything and everything I'm doing is becoming a sanskar for my soul. So I know that I will come again because of all the desires and everything that is there. I'm very clear about it, that I know it's not the moksha time this time. But I'm in a clear understanding of what I'm doing, what sanskar I'm giving, so that I'm helping my soul to move in a certain direction, as it will come again, as that is immortal. So that has been like really a journey from feeling that why am I here? I'm stuck in this body. Even the spiritual, let's say awakening of understanding that yes, I'm really stuck in this body. And then there is this time, this emotional time that comes where I am feeling that I am stuck in this body, and why am I here? I need to be with God. My soul is really looking for what? That endless joy, right? I know I'm immortal, but now I want the endless joy because I've got the knowledge that this is that. And you see, still that knowledge is tainted, because from that point in my life, coming to a point where I'm understanding I am here, and if I love God that much and God has put me to live here, why am I complaining that I'm not devoted, right? Then I'm not in service. God put me here to do certain work, and I'm complaining and I'm not serving, and I'm not, so that means my knowledge is not complete, correct? So from there to now coming to a point where I am looking forward to living my life, and the depression takes a back seat, anxiety takes a back seat, all of this is not there. I feel emotions, but I am not stuck in my emotions, happy or sad. And when I'm moving forward, every experience I consciously want to build as a karma that is going to help my soul towards a brighter light, and eventually giving this sanskar so that it will attract that. Like if today it goes away, so I will be like, okay, somewhere this will be there and I'll be attracted to that. So trying to do that. And this shift has actually been the real shift towards more dharma. First was so taking in and absorbing.
Oh, that's a lot of things. It is one thing to go through life, it's one thing to learn from it, learn the right lessons.
Yeah.
Like there were certain things while you're sharing that caught my eye.
Mhm.
So we tend to resort to yoga to help us become more healthy,
Yeah.
our holistic well-being. So how can youth or people working in corporate, people working in diverse areas, how can we implement yoga in the most challenging ways that are more adaptive to this generation or this needs of the hour? Because again, our challenges are much more diverse and different now. So how can yoga really help? And what way exactly can, one adapt in their daily life? How exactly can we do or go about it?
Okay, I'm going to go back and come back to
Yeah,
this.
sure.
The challenge is one challenge. Every soul wants to be in a union with the Paramanand. When we are identifying, we have three needs: immortality, endless knowledge, and endless joy. Complete knowledge, the true knowledge, and endless joy. So we know that there is something or someone who has that, because that is the source. Correct? Something that is immortal, something that has the true knowledge, and something that has the endless joy. So that is Sachidanand Parmeshwar for us. Correct? The only need is to experience that state. That is the only challenge there was, is, and will be. This whole dance in the middle is the passion dance. Okay? And we have more, let's say, resources now. You don't have to live in a jungle. You don't have mosquitoes around you. They're biting you. You have a lot of comfort. So only challenge is to begin and be consistent. Again, the training of willpower, right? Pushing yourself to find the right answers. So the only challenge is to begin, and then not get lost in, let's say, the propagandas that are there. Then this is this and that is that. Like, find the right kind of knowledge. Just begin that. And beginning is the most important, and the beginning is the most difficult. So once we begin that is the only challenge that we have to meet. We have a room, you have a mat or you don't have a mat, and these excuses, the person who's giving these excuses, external excuses, it's not that thing is the excuse. It's like, this is in the state of excuse. This state is lazy, not determined, doesn't have the willpower. And I'm telling you that you will see the same character, because it's that one character that is saying no, 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 no. And they will be doing that in every part of their life. Because why doesn't it giving any excuse when you have to go all the way to smoke a cigarette? You'll do that easily. But somehow you will not do this. So that is the identification. And you have to push yourself, like everything. And to do good things, you have to push yourself more nowadays. Right? Like to even sit straight. It is so difficult to sit straight. People can't sit straight. And why? Because we do have a very tamasic nature in us. And we'll be like, we'll sit like this, and then we'll be like, oh, I am very tired. Obviously, you're tired. You're like pressing all your organs and the whole body is like this. Sit like this. You start feeling good. So, small things, just little.
Sthira Sukhamasana, as they call it, right?
Yeah. Sthiram Sukhamasana is sthir. Like my internal state is sthir. I have a balance of masculine and feminine. Sukham, because I am in a balance, I am feeling sukh. It is not the happiness and it is not the sadness. It's sukh. People will say it. I can be sukhi even while experiencing dukh. Why? Because internal state of my being knows that this is temporary. So there is a bliss about that. It's passing. So it's up to us what we let completely come in. And again, I will say, right kind of knowledge will bring right kind of action and reaction. So you will be listening to it nowadays that people say don't react, don't give reactions, respond. Like, what are you talking about? Response is a reaction. However, the only thing somebody needs to think here is that you will react, and your reaction needs to come from a place of true knowledge, right? If Shivaji didn't fight the war, we'd be lost. So be very clear with the understanding of what is. My Acharya says this, and he asked me one time, what is Gyan? And I'm like, knowledge, right? And it's a simple way of explaining what he said it, and he says that Gyan is to understand how things are, what is how it is, not how you think it is. जो चीज़ जैसी है उसे वैसे ही जानना और मानना, खुद से मत बनाओ ऐसा भी तो होगा, ऐसा हो सकता है, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है. So you have to be very strict. That is where the discipline comes, and the discipline comes in being strict with what information I'm picking for myself. So yes, so the only challenge is to begin, and the only challenge is to not give challenges to yourself for not doing something. Just being like, drop everything, let's do it.
It's about authentic input and an authentic output.
Yes, because
just fixing yourself in that process.
the only challenge everybody on earth, like everybody is trying to look for Paramanand. That is the need forever. And in the middle is just gibberish.
So, one controversial question is yoga really a religious thing?
Yeah, of course it is.
And can you elaborate why so? And why? Because it's more of a spiritual thing that anyone else would do. Yeah, please continue.
Oh my god. It is a religious thing, not thing, I will say it out loud today, break the myth and bring light on this topic, and all the secular people who want to act cool by saying yoga is universal. Yes, correct. It's coming from Sanatan Dharma, so it's eternal. We know that. But if you are thinking that it is coming from some different faith and it doesn't have a faith, no, it has a faith. Sanatan Dharma. It's one of the 6 branches of it. And I will come to the religious word later.
Yeah.
Yoga. Where is it coming from? It's coming from Shivji. Who is Shivji? He's a god in Sanatan Hinduism. So we break that. It's the dance of Shiva Shakti. Many asan. Natraj. The dancing is. Theater is Shivji. Okay. Music is Shivji. Like, what is not religious in this country? Every science is coming from Shiva Shakti, Vishnu Lakshmi, Brahma, Narad Muni, Upanishads, Rishi, Ved, and it's all scientific. So we are actually the land that explains science and also has the only place that also has this one sector, which is the spiritual science. And spiritual science is not closing your eyes and, like shiv, shiv, shiv. No, the scientific way of doing it. Understanding the body. Science and spiritual science. Understanding the energy through that. And that is our USP.
Yeah.
And there are so many different ways to reach that. And that is why we are secular as long as it is Sanatan. And that doesn't. And when you are a true Sanatani, your first duty is to make sure that the dharma is residing in everybody. So anything that is not dharmic is not Sanatan, and we don't allow that. That is where we are we are not tolerant, and we shouldn't be. because we want a safe environment for men and women both, children, animals, nature, and we cover that. So that will be that. And when certain people will say it's not a religious thing, then I always say them, why do you say that? Do this religiously. It means do it passionately, do it as accurately as you can, because what are you doing? You are worshipping, but with a set of rules, with a discipline, with an order. And that is very important for a society and for a human to grow. Not just for society, but for me as a person also.
It's
I
nothing
need to be
just
disciplined.
it's nothing but just an order of things.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's what makes you religious.
Yep. So we made that clear.
Yeah. So yoga is religious.
Yeah.
And yeah, Shiva Shiva Shambhu is coming from that.
क्या बता so
He was like, hi.
yeah, like,
Wait, when are you beginning?
it's okay.
Okay, let's begin it.
3,
Make me laugh now. Okay, let's go.
3, 2, 1. Action.
Sorry.
You're getting why I'm laughing.
Yeah.
You know how you did it? I'll show you. I'll be like, hello, namaste. Imagine, Rishita.
Dharma speaks.